people sort of going, well, I don't do dick jokes like those guys, so so I'm better than them, and it's like, well, people like them more. That's that doesn't Not everything you don't like is Mrs. Brown's Boys, is what I'll say.
I've not really watched it, so I don't know. I've seen
No,
bits and
same.
pieces of it, but it's not really caught my eye.
No, no. I mean, I used to work with adults with learning disabilities, and Mrs. Brown's Boys was very popular in that house, so I used to watch a bit of it. And I'll say it wasn't for me, but I can see why people would like it. And I think that's the attitude that was missing when when there was a bit of artistic snobbery around here, was people were completely unable. And by people, I mean, like, the scene was so small. I'm talking about like 6 or 7 people, but they seemed completely unable, in my opinion, to go, well, that's not for me, but I can see why. I can see that it is good in a different way. Like, it wasn't that. It was, they saw it as like, that's not for me. I am better than that. If pe more people like that than like me, they are wrong. I just hate that.
Hmm. Yeah, that's it, w- my dad said something on this, but it's going to sound like complete. He says with a lot of dictatorships, this is what goes on with these countries, like because they have that attitude of tribalism, and then that it
Mm.
affects the whole economy.
Mm.
And like if they had it more like there is in the West, where it's based on merit to a degree, meritocracy, how good you are,
Yeah.
and it makes things better for all. And that's what you said. They could that have an if this goes in too far with comedy and different art forms, could that have a really damaging effect on the art forms to other people, where they'll go off to other things because the quality won't be as good?
Right. Yeah, exactly. I
Unlikely
think,
though.
and well, no, I think you're right, though. I think that, like, if you end up with a scene that is like too separated, where it's like there's maybe like 2 big gigs and it's the same few folks in that, and then there's like an open mic scene where it's hundreds of unskilled comics going unnoticed, and some of them are fucking amazing and never to be seen by more than 30 people in a pub at a time. And like, if there's too much separation between those two parts of a scene, then yeah, you're going to get stagnancy, which I do think we did have, actually. Like, there's people here who are now household names, and who are brilliant, and were always brilliant. But during about 2015 to 2019, there wasn't much growth among them as artists, and in skill as a comedian. And like, largely that's because there was stuff going on in their lives, but also I think it's because um the scene was a bit stagnant because of a lack of a route upwards. But also I would say that the ceiling was quite low still there as well. Like, I think one of the big changes here was around 2017, 18, I can't remember, when local acts here started to be able to do an arena, which was crazy. Um, I think seeing that even as a possibility made the hypothetical ceiling a lot higher of what one could achieve here, and it made people try a lot harder. And that was one of the big things that I think made the scene here a lot better.
Is the Northern Ireland scene in a bit of a emergence, a bit of a because I hear in the northwest,
Mm,
like in Manchester, Liverpool,
mm,
because of hot water, you got things like
yeah,
Have a Word and all these things going on. Like
hi.
London's like great for getting on TV, but in terms of things going forward in comedy and like things emerging, they're saying that the northwest is where a lot of things are happening. Is there something similar going on Northern Ireland in that there's a big revolution happening?
I hope so. I definitely think post-pandemic that is absolutely the case. I'm always afraid of the bubble being about to burst anytime because it just seems to keep getting bigger. Um, there's got to be a moment past which we lose it all again, but I don't think it'll ever be as bad as it was pre-pandemic. That was not as bad. As bad, it's the wrong word, but I don't think it'll ever be as unseen as it was before that. Um, I think, yeah, like, I think what's happening in the Northwest is amazing around there, and I would say it's something similar is probably happening here, um, in that there's a certain what's the word? Well, basically it's the spurning of gatekeepers, isn't it? Whether that be the BBC or producers or whoever, you know, it's very much people saying. I'm going to do my own thing and an audience finding them, you know. Um, and so yeah, I do think that has happened or is happening here. Uh, and it could happen anywhere, which is great. It doesn't need to be anywhere big. I mean, Northern Ireland is, I think I looked it up once because yeah, I was thinking about this. I think Northern Ireland has like a third of the population of London or something. I can't remember, but it's wild, isn't it? Like just the difference in numbers. So like, the fact that they can do an arena off the back of that, it's crazy. Um, and and that's purely just off people doing their own thing. Whereas, when you have an industry that is only dominated by gatekeepers, then you only have what those gatekeepers will like. And that's all well and good. But isn't it better to have um, a more diverse palette of what arts can be?